is feminism to you?
Feminism is idea that everyone is equal regardless of gender.
I'd have to say that I can basically answer that question because I believe more in feminism, where the part men have to have their rights brought back to them. But in our 21st century, we focus more on feminism, the type of feminism that's toxic feminism, not the like in the 90s or 80s where women wanted to have equal rights as men. But now in our 20th century, we have like women who want to be above men, who want to be dominant, who want to dominate men, that don't even need men in their lives.
Feminism is a lot of things. From my department, we're learning feminism is a theory on its own. But when you look at feminism, it's a lot of things. Like I said, it can be, I think you find feminism in a lot of things like politics, economy, just everything.
When I hear the word feminism, I think about empowerment of women, but just not any other empowerment of women. I feel it's a license to give a woman that you are who you are, regardless of the other sex. Like you don't need to act like a man, but you need to act as yourself as an individual person. And I feel like women kind of don't know what feminism is. That's what I think, because most of the time they think it's fighting the opposite sex. But I feel like it's all about empowering yourselves. And a real fight is not about trying to fight the other person. It's basically about yourself. And the reason why I say that is because there's so much contradiction that happens in this world. You see a woman in parliament saying stuff like that's really, really insightful and everything. And you see another person in the club, kind of you get me, and then you're trying to figure out if what is really empowering someone, and do they all understand what this thing is, or feminism is it's a skate where when you feel like you want to be a man, like I feel like I want to be a man, and you feel like you don't want to be a woman. It's like I feel like people use it as an scapegoat in society. But however, I feel like feminism is a very
feminism is about, I think it's majorly about advocating for equal rights with men, majorly from the woman's perspective.
Well, to me, feminism is a system of valuing people where you value one gender. Oh, sorry. That's not what I was meant to say. I'll just take it again. All right. So you're asking me what feminism is. For me, I just want to first emphasize that the world has a value system. So there's a way the world value people, and the value profit over the environment. You value the male gender over the female gender. So feminism is actually an activism, or it can also be an idea, or an idea that became an activism. So it's basically a system where you advocate for the rights of women, because the whole world valuing system have actually caused segregation, discrimination, non-equal protection for the female gender. And this non-equal protection has become something like a standard, has become a prerequisite for how you treat a woman. So feminism is simply a way of fighting this kind of segregation that takes place in political arenas, socio-cultural environments, and economic sector.
Are you a feminist?
I can't do this, really. Sorry. I'm laughing every time. It's not funny, but I'm nervous. I am feminist. I believe that it's all gone. I have nothing in my mind right now. I believe that women can do whatever they want. And they can be equal. Like they can. I don't know really. I can translate. Sorry. You have to stop it, then shoot again to know where to cut and merge.
Yes, we hear you.
Sorry.
No problem.
So, I'm not feminist. And I don't believe in feminism. So, because I don't know any idea, really. Sorry. I forget everything now.
So I'm a meninist. So in terms of feminism, no. But I support the types of men, for example, that want to be in their children's lives in sort of way, like that's why I keep on saying menism. In most societies today, you keep on hearing like some women say, "Oh, he doesn't need his father. I raised this kid without the father and everything like that." But at the end of the day, you come to find out like the mother was actually keeping the son away from the father. So the father himself if the father wanted to be in the child's life, he wasn't even able to be in there.
So, are you a feminist?
I like to believe I am. I mean, feminism tries to attain a certain goal that revolves around gender equality. So why not?
I am a feminist. I believe in empowering women. I believe in equality, having women to get every single opportunity that is also available to men. And this takes me back to the story of Hidden Figures. You know, the first women to help America win the space race. I feel they were like an example of what feminism is. You know, it was them fighting themselves to be recognizable people and being women of STEM, which is science and technology and whatsoever. So when I hear the word feminism, I think about how women are supposed to empower themselves without thinking about what men think. That's what I think about feminism.
No, I'm not. I'm not a feminist. Because I think, personally, I think that people or women or generally people who call themselves feminists actually don't know what it entails, what the feminism entails, what it means to be a feminist. Because when you talk about feminism, it's in actual sense, it's not you advocating for equal rights. I just think it's a way to marginalize men from a woman's I don't know how to put this, but I just believe it's a way to marginalize men.
Well, I can't say that I'm a feminist, so I'll say not necessarily. I'm not necessarily a feminist because I think if there's a way where we can address an unfair treatment, everybody should be a part of it, and I don't necessarily need to flag up as a feminist. Personally, I'm a rights activist. I engage in other things, jungle justice. I talk about death penalty, and I don't like those things. So feminism is one of those things. So if I pick feminism, it simply means that I'm only picking one part of my activism. So I'm just a human rights activist personally. So I'm not really a feminist, but I support the feminist idea to some extent, because there are variants of feminisms, and you have to be careful of which one you support, because some go extreme, some go on the main target, they focus on their purpose. So I support the feminist idea to some extent.
Do you think men and women should have the same jobs?
Yes. There is nothing that women can't do while men can do.
So you said that you want men's rights to be returned to them. Who took men's rights away?
I have to say the society took men's rights from them at this point. In terms of lots of men don't have these days with movement like Me Too. Okay, it's a good movement, but if someone just if a lady feels like this guy doesn't want me or something, he can just say he touched me. At the end of the day, they won't do any follow-up or do any like investigation. It comes in terms of like when you hear about rape cases, like you hear someone like a lady can accuse a man like he raped me even if he didn't rape her. the man will go into jail, the man will be sentenced without any investigation. Without an investigation, at the end of the day, when they found out like the lady lied, no justification, no law or no punishment will be taken out on the lady. So at the end of the day, the guy's been in jail for a crime he didn't commit. But I want like it to be the same way. Like a guy, if the lady like accuses the guy and they find out like the guy was innocent, the guy can even like sue the lady.
In actual sense, there can't be equality between both sexes. I don't think that's something we can achieve in this society. So I'm not a feminist.
You said that there's a woman in parliament and there's a woman in the club, and the word empowerment gets confused in between. Are you implying that women in the club don't deserve to be empowered, or they shouldn't be in the club?
I feel like women in the club do need to be empowered, but however, I feel like when they do the opposite of what women stand for, because women say that we're not sexual objects, and then the next thing I'm seeing somebody becoming a sexual object. I feel like it's a contradiction. I feel like they're not in the same place. I feel like the whole race of women is entirely divided. That's how I feel. So I feel like feminism has to be reintroduced again to the whole populace of women.
What about marriage? Should a woman be married and always stay at home and take care of kids, or should she be allowed to work?
No, women should study. They should graduate from university, and they should be independent, and they should work.
So which variants of feminism should you stay away from, since it's
Yeah, the variants of feminism. One thing we need to know that is that this just like the environmental issues, we have environmentalists that actually promote the fact that you shouldn't dispose waste bins into the waters and stuff like that, and they're trying to actually bring about a solution. Feminism is also actually bringing about a solution where the world will actually become, to some extent, relatively equal, right? And the main problem is not coming from feminism. The main problem is coming from the smallest unit of the society, which is the family. And I think that's where the whole idea of feminism actually, is linking or started from, because we see violence everywhere, we see wars everywhere, we see people using drugs, and we see societies breaking down. So the problem there is because the smallest unit of society, which is the family, has broken down. Let me say that the smallest unit of the society has broken down because there's a functional problem in the family. The male gender and the female gender are actually fighting over who plays what role and what functions, and because the female plays functions like doing the laundry, it makes the male think she's less important. So because the man plays the role, culturally in some cultures, play the role of paying the bills, it makes him feel important. So that's where the problem comes. And when a female feels important, the other female feels, oh, we need to advocate for her. So at that level of feminism, I think I can actually understand and go for those ones. But there are some extremes level of feminism that goes about looking for substantial equality. Substantial equality in the sense that, if as a woman I have this level of achievement, or as a man I have this level of achievement, a woman should also have the level of achievement. Our purposes, our interests varies, so you can't really impose that and say man and woman should be equal. Even within the male gender, there's inequality, let's put it that way. There's a lot of disparities, you get, so we can't be exactly equal. So substantial equality is not something that is achievable, but functional equality, that's what I'll call it, based on your own role, how you function in the community, how you function in your family. Yeah, we should be treated equal. I think equal treatment is more important. Equal protection is more important.
So if you go on a date, who pays for the bill, the man or the woman?
If it's a first date, we can share it. But if it's like, if I'm with my boyfriend, he can pay it.
feminism also believes that society that has taken away their rights. So exactly who is society, or what is society?
I have to say the upper class society. Most people say the upper class society, but I don't think feminism feminism right now in the society we live in 21st century. Ladies ladies can do anything. They're like lawyers. Ladies are like wrestlers. They're doing most stuff like they couldn't do in the 90s. So at this point, I can say like feminism, there isn't such a need for it, but maybe like 20% need for it to just because in the old days the ladies didn't have most in the old days ladies didn't have much right. They couldn't do any other stuff they wanted to do, like they couldn't vote. Right now ladies can vote, ladies can do anything, they can wear anyhow they want compared to the olden days.
You said it's a way to marginalize men. Do you think that men have marginalized women?
I in some aspects yes, because there are situations where we have especially in the work settings and the way actually I believe the society has placed men above women. We can say the society is patriarchal because everything a woman does is measured by what a man can do, and it has always been like that. But when you start talking about the issue of feminism, I understand that we want equal rights with men. Yes, it's a good thing to advocate for legal equal rights, but when you're bringing it from a feminist perspective, I don't think you advocating for legal rights with men makes you a feminist, because when you talk about feminism, it's just a way to. Okay, let me put it like this: we have like when you talk of when you think about feminism, you think of all these people who are like feminists to the extreme, like the radical feminists. They don't care how it comes or wherever. They just want feminism in all aspects, like even in aspects where you don't think to look for equality, you see them asking like, no, I want to be equal with this person. Even you're walking down the street, you'll be like, no, you shouldn't walk like that, I need to walk this way, I'm supposed to be equal with a man. But in actual sense, it's not possible to be equal with a man, because there are certain things that a man can do, or a certain job that requires the effort of a man, or they're actually, how should I put this, they're just certain things that a man can do, and you can't expect to picture a woman in that kind of thing. So that's what I believe. So I don't think the idea of equality from the feminist perspective is achievable.
You said as a woman in a family setting, it's traditionally a woman's job to do the laundry. So would you never do your own laundry?
I think that's a kind of a, I mean, I don't know where that comes from, but I know it comes from a particular culture. Laundry is not meant for women. Cooking is not meant for women. I'm not going to say it's meant for women. It's not meant for women. In the family, that's what I say, it's functional. A family needs to come together and decide who does what. So when we decide who does what, this makes the family function well. But when we impose these things on people, then they revolt and they begin to gather and become an advocate. So basically the functional equality is very important. It's not about the laundry, it's not about who does the cooking. It's about, I mean, some people say, okay, what if, it depends on who is free, who is busy, you know, who has the time. How can we manage? It's about management, really. We just need to think of home management. So, and forget about the being the gender, or just think of home management. How can you manage your home, keep your house intact?
You said something about radical feminists.
Yeah.
So would it be fair to throw away a whole movement because of the radical element? Or
when we're talking about the old movement, which is the movement of feminism, the actual beginning of feminism is not, this is not, the idea behind this feminism was to look for a way, because during the 80s, the 90s, there were times when women are not allowed to to drive, to do some other things. And when the movement for feminism started, it was just to make women be acceptable in the society to do things that men are presumed to be the only one doing. But now that it keeps growing and growing, and I think a lot of people have this confused definition or idea of what feminism is about. I think that's why we have to be very careful when we talk of the issue of when we personalize ourselves as being feminists.
Do you believe everyone should be a feminist?
I do believe that.
No, I don't believe everyone should be feminists, but I think everyone should advocate for equal rights. Not when you're talking of equal rights, it doesn't have to be in like I want to do the same thing a man is doing. I want to be what a man, because in actual sense, when you're even telling the society that you want to be equal to a man, that equality, like you are even when you talk of equality, you're still comparing yourself to a man. That's why you want to be equal to that man. So you can't say you want to be equal with this man and still in actual sense you're comparing yourself. That's how you want the equality.
Not necessarily. I mean, just like I said before, not necessarily. Everyone doesn't really need to be a feminist, but should everyone advocate for what is right? Should everyone advocate for putting certain corrections in place in the society? Yes. Yes. We shouldn't necessarily ignore it. You don't need to come out and flag up as a feminist, but you should be critical about what is going on around you and know that, wow, these people are actually advocating for what is right, understand the limits, and put the little support you can. You don't necessarily need to be a feminist, but the idea is the main thing. Understand the idea and be able to support the idea within the limits and boundaries that you stand.
So do you believe everyone should be feminist?
Of course. Someone must be down not to be part of the feminist movement.
Do you believe that everyone should be a feminist?
Hell no, I don't believe that.
So what about your society? Do you think that in Northern Cyprus, people believe in feminism?
Not most of them, but yeah. Not all of them, but they believe in feminism, yeah.
So do you think that everyone should be feminist, men and women?
Yes.
So in your culture or your society, have they embraced feminism or is it still in the backseat?
I think in the African culture it's a bit gradual if I'm being honest. It's a bit gradual, but I've seen women in STEM, like women have been getting opportunities to study, and it's quite interesting that people, like I'm abroad and I'm seeing women doing architecture, women doing engineering, and doing all of these other stuff, and I feel there's a change of something else. I feel like we're getting there, and however, I think in the whole entirety of a household, it will be difficult for women to abandon some certain roles that are called normal within a household. I feel that we can never really change. Like women are expected to cook, women are expected to do this. I feel that is really hard to change. However, them being given an opportunity to still work and still provide for the family and still do other things, I think it's possible.
So if you think it's a woman's role to cook and do other things in the household, does that mean that even if the man is better at doing them, he should not do them?
I think a union, marriage is a union, and I think whoever does it the best should do it, or they should help each other. I feel like nobody is mandated to do a certain thing. I feel everybody can do it. That's how I feel.
In my society, which I believe that feminism is something that is just gradually is beginning, people are beginning to open up to it, but in a very wrong way. As from my own perspective, they are opening up to it in a very wrong way because they have this convinced definition of what feminism should be about, which is not what it entails.
So in your culture or your society,
Yeah.
have they embraced feminism or it's still in the backseat?
In my culture, feminism, let's say, is in the middle seat. But being a black African and a Muslim, like the roles of the lady is like in the front. So the lady is always like, when you go back to our religion, they say like the most important person you should respect is your mother. Like the Prophet said, like the most important person to respect, the first one is your mother. And the one of the other Prophet asked him like, who again? The mother. And then he asked, who again? The mother. And the third was like your father. So basically, in our religion, we respect women how they are. But now also with society, the way like it's been turned around to look like this particular Turks, particular like a Muslim. They believe like, okay, Muslim, we don't respect the feminism, we don't respect women. Eh, some, I might say some do and some don't, but most, at the end of the day, we do respect them. We do want them to, we do want our women to learn, we do want our women to be, to get education, we do want them like, nothing bad to happen to them.
Well, it's gradually growing in my society. Feminism is becoming something people are really engaging in, and but it's still there's still a lot of social cultural barriers to, I mean, promoting feminism. You still find women still believing their roles is somewhere in the kitchen. You still find the ladies still believe. It's something that you have to go to the grassroots to actually deal with these things. It's not something you would deal with just at the top. Even if they make rules and policies and all, it doesn't work that way. You have to go to the grassroots. When I mean grassroots, I mean communities. You go to schools, you go to social gatherings, and you reorientate people about the fact that, okay, women's right needs to be advocated for within these boundaries. So yeah, within my society, it's growing, but I think more attention needs to be given to it.
So when you look at all these movements, why are we still fighting to be part of the man's world, as they call it? Like I said, it's very, very dull for someone not to want to be part of the feminism movement. Why is it that fathers today are okay with their daughters earning 3 times what they're earning now, but my husband wouldn't be fine with me earning anything? They just want me to be, I guess, a stay-at-home woman, which is pathetic, very, very pathetic. Times have changed and people need to move on. Let women come together. We have to come together and work as a team. In fact, feminism is inclusive of males as well. Men have, society has created this image of men of being what? The breadwinner. I want to be the breadwinner. What's wrong with that? So people that feel like, men that feel like they're being pressurized by society, why not come together and we work things out? We support each other,